sometimes there is a need for some thinking that comes from outside the organization. We have a group of very talented individuals, our students, who've learned about management, who are hungry for applying their skills, interacting with organizations and working on real problems.
Getting involved in Practice Track is so fantastic. We grapple with these challenges day to day, and often it just takes that fresh pair of eyes and that fresh perspective just to say, oh, actually, I've not thought about it in that way. So we're exploring a range of different questions with the students today.
The students will really bring something that we haven't thought about, a new perspective, a new angle to the problems, and something we can work upon in the future.
It's important for industry and academia to be linked together because a lot of new ideas are coming out of the research papers.
We are learning with researchers and academics at the forefront of the field, and we're being taught the most up-to-date and relevant information. So we offer a great perspective, a different insight into the challenges that the companies are facing.
They get a perspective from not just here domestically but globally, because we've got a lot of international students.
These students are capable of going out, looking at what research says about these companies' problems and applying those to the problems in a way where companies get the most recent research on the topic.
For me, it was a very encouraging presentation. A lot of what they recommended was very positive. They thought outside of the box in areas, but they were also quite pragmatic about the way it could be implemented. And they provided timelines and they provided priorities.
Synthesizing that information and coming up with some original thoughts and ideas, which all three groups did.
Some of the ideas that they came up with are things that we've thought about previously but didn't actually have the time to go into. But now I think it really does reinforce the fact we need to visit some of these ideas again.
Here's a bunch of very smart people telling you it's going to work, so I don't think it would be a massive surprise if some of the stuff they've said they might see in market.
This is a perfect example of something that can be win-win for both the company and the students.
For other companies, get involved, there's nothing to lose.
Why not use a crowd which is engaged, willing to give up time to do this? For us, it's a little investment, but we get a lot back.
In the last 2.5 hours, we've learned a hell of a lot, and I really want to do it again.